All right. So I just want to start by welcoming everyone to our Western Libraries subscription forum. My name is Madeline Kelly, and I'm the Director of Collections for the Western Libraries and currently serving in the role of Interim Dean as well. And then I would like to introduce my colleague, Mary Wegman, she, her, who is serving as our Acting Director of Collections and who will be monitoring our Q&A this afternoon. So if there are questions that Mary can answer on the side as I'm talking, she's going to take care of that for us. I will begin with a little bit of kind of customary Zoom housekeeping stuff. So first, I just want to share that this session is being recorded, and we do plan to post the recording with closed captions and the slide deck itself to the library website next week. So for folks who want to go back and review the content, or for people who weren't able to attend today, all of this information will be available. During the presentation, we invite you to submit any questions that you have via the Q&A feature. Like I mentioned, we might, and by we, I mean Mary, might answer some of the questions in writing as we move through the presentation. Other questions we might save and answer verbally at the end. Any questions that we don't answer today, if we run out of time or if we need to track down some additional information, will be addressed on the library website via our subscription FAQ, which we will plan to update after today's forum. So today's agenda, our presentation is going to cover an overview of library collections and their associated costs. We're going to talk through the current subscription situation and the need for cancellations. We're going to talk through the subscription review process, including what you all can expect over the next several weeks. We'll cover strategies for accessing materials in the short term, strategies for improving our prospects long term. We will cover some options that you have for following up with us after today's forum. And then finally, we'll have hopefully a good chunk of time at the end for Q&A. We do need to wrap up at 5:15, but hopefully we can cover a lot of ground between now and then. So we are here, largely to talk about subscriptions, but before we get into subscriptions specifically, I wanted to provide a little bit of a broader context around library collections. So the Western Libraries resource access budget, which I will mostly refer to as our collections budget, and that's, the budget we're talking about today, covers a variety of types of things. So for starters, it includes, of course, books and journals, both print and electronic. These include books and journals that we have purchased one at a time. It also includes, large packages of ebooks or e-journals. In addition to that, our collections budget also covers a large number of aggregator databases. So these are things like EBSCOhost or ProQuest or PsycInfo or Web of Science, the kind of large databases that tend to be full of abstracts and articles and white papers and all kinds of content. And then our collections budget also covers a variety of media, both streaming media, like streaming video, as well as physical media. Our collection includes specialty formats. The examples I've used here include maps. It also includes special use collections like course reserves that support specific user needs, in this case, classes, curricular materials. And then our collection also includes open access items. Finally, I should mention that collections rely on significant back-end infrastructure, including a variety of specialized systems, the costs and processes that underlie Interlibrary Loan and Summit, as well as costs and processes for copyright payments and other access components. So it's collections, but then it's also quite a lot of infrastructure in the background. So this should just give you kind of a baseline sense of the breadth of library collections and the breadth of what is supported by our collections budget. So, given the breadth and complexity of library collections, what does that mean in terms of cost? So at Western, our full collections budget, including the budget that supports those back-end systems that I mentioned, is roughly $2.6 million and is divided out, again, roughly as follows. So about 3/4 of our collections funds go to supporting subscriptions. Most of these subscriptions are electronic. We do still have a few print journals, but over time, we're seeing that steadily shift to fully electronic. Our subscriptions are managed through the subscription review process, and they can be requested using our new subscription request form on our website, which I'll share a little bit later on. The remaining quarter of our collections budget is divided among one-time purchases, access fees, and systems. So one-time purchases include things like books, you buy them and then you own them. There's no ongoing cost. This is also where we fund videos, which includes streaming video and other mixed formats like maps. These items are managed through a variety of other maintenance and review processes outside of the subscription review, and they can be requested through their own purchase request forms. So we have a book purchase request form. In our ILLiad system, we have a media request form. So there are ways to request these kinds of items. Access fees includes costs for interlibrary loan, summit, copyright payments, and other kinds of short-term access costs. So basically, this is how we pay for access to the things that we don't have in our collection here locally. And then systems, that final chunk of the pie includes our catalog, which is built on the Alma system. It includes ILLiad, which we use for interlibrary loan and purchase requests, and other backend systems that we use to provide access to collections. As you can see, subscriptions really are the dominant force in our collections budget, which is the case at most institutions. So I want to look more closely now at the subscriptions landscape and some of the forces that give subscriptions such an overwhelming influence on library budgets. There are a lot of factors working against libraries in this situation. So on the publishing side, the past few decades have seen really a huge proliferation of journal titles. This overabundance of journals makes it easier for predatory journals to thrive. It makes it harder to find high quality content amid the sea of noise. A lot of these increasing numbers of journals get packaged together into these huge padded collections that allow vendors then to justify pretty exorbitant prices for their journal packages. And it consumes library subscription budgets. On top of that, publishers in the scholarly communications landscape are consolidating at a pretty alarming rate, leaving over time fewer and fewer options for who to negotiate with for access to the scholarly record. Annual price increases on journal subscriptions in particular have averaged 5% or higher year after year, which really outstrips the growth on institutional budgets. So it exceeds our ability to pay for them. Publishers prefer to provide access to their journals through large, inflexible packages, which locks libraries into these massive title lists with unsustainable financial commitments. So just kind of speaking from our own collection, we have large journal packages from Taylor and Francis, from Springer Nature, from Wiley, from a handful of others. And each of those packages provides us with hundreds or in some cases thousands of journal titles for a single package price. Whether we want all of those titles doesn't really matter. The price per title is unbeatable and you can't really walk away from it. And then lastly, most recently, I just want to mention that we've seen a steady trend towards the monetization, towards monetizing open access, meaning that open access is still moving forward. We're seeing content becoming open, which is great. More people can read it. But it does mean that institutions like Western aren't paying any less for it. So one example of this is that we've seen an increase in the number of publishers offering read and publish agreements where instead of, or in some cases in addition to, paying for journal subscriptions, we as a library or we as an institution are now also paying the publishing costs for Western researchers to publish open access in those same journals. So we've had a few vendors offer us that kind of model in the past couple of years, and at least one essentially force us to transition to that kind of paid open access model, which again is great because it provides open content to the world, but it is not a budget saver like we had hoped open access might be. On the institutional side, it's worth noting that libraries, we are committed to supporting the curricular and research needs of our institutions. That's why we exist. Unfortunately, that leaves us without a lot of leverage in the negotiation environment because publishers know that we need to support you. And at the end of the day, we're going to do what we can and what we need to do to support the needs of our institutions. So ultimately, library budgets and higher ed budgets more broadly just aren't hefty enough to keep up with these pressures. And we find ourselves, kind of pushing as hard as we can, but coming up against some pretty significant obstacles. And we do struggle to keep up with the growth and the increasing costs of scholarly publishing. And we struggle to keep up with local research and teaching needs. So at Western specifically, that was, a bunch of background context, but what this means for us specifically is that price increases on our subscriptions amount to about $100,000 every year, which means that without increases to our collections budget, we can't pay for all of our existing subscriptions. And this is a point that I do want to sit with for a minute. So when we talk about subscription cancellations, when we talk about needing to identify, $29,000, we're not even talking about budget cuts. We're not talking about the collections budget being reduced. This is just what happens when budgets are flat. So it's a difficult situation. And I guess as I continue, I want to acknowledge there might be questions about this slide in particular, and I definitely encourage you to put any questions you have about the budget trajectory in the Q&A so we can address them at the end of the presentation. So kind of talking through this, we've got the $100,000 increases every year. We have had some infusions of funds through the years to help us. In FY22, we got a small infusion of one-time funds, which helped delay the need for cancellations. So that didn't increase our budget into the next year, but it did give us some cash that we could use to kind of stave off cancellations. In FY23, we did actually get a base budget increase to the collections budget of about $130,000, which helped in a more long-term structural way by boosting up our budget year over year. And then lastly, we have been able to use carry forward from the collections budget to help bridge the gap and continue to postpone the need for cancellations. About a year ago, I think we were projecting that carry forward could get us through into either fiscal year 27 or even fiscal year 28 without the need for any cancellations. Which then brings us to that middle line of text on the slide, carry forward sweep at the end of FY24. So at the end of FY24, last fiscal year, university administration rolled up carry forward from across the university, not just from the library, but from across the university in order to balance the budget for FY 2025. Our collections carry forward, which again, we had been hoping to use to postpone cancellations for a few more years, was redirected to cover instructional costs across academic affairs. As a result, instead of facing cancellations in 2 or 3 years, we're now kind of in an immediate position of needing to identify $29,000 in subscriptions to cancel for FY26. and then roughly $101,000 for each year after that. So how do we do that? How do we do the difficult work of identifying $29,000 in subscriptions to cancel? Next year, how do we do it to identify $101,000? This is where our subscription review process comes into play. So our current process was developed starting in FY 2019, so before the pandemic, and then it was implemented in FY 2020, and it has four major stages. So the first stage, and this one is internal to the library, is data collection. So we collect a lot of data before we decide what should go onto the draft review list. That data includes quantitative factors like cost per use, annual price increase, how often an item is put on course reserves. It also includes, to the best extent that we can do this, a range of qualitative factors. Those qualitative factors include things like how effectively does the vendor support accessibility? How do they support open access? How good are they on user privacy? Can the item be borrowed via interlibrary loan? Is it available through a different database or package? So all of this data, the quantitative and the qualitative, is gathered, is combined, and at the end, what we wind up with is a single numerical score for each of our subscriptions. Once we have a score for each subscription, we move on to the second stage, which is where we build our draft review list. This part of the process incorporates those numerical scores and builds on them as well by incorporating qualitative input from library personnel. So each of our subject teams, as well as a core group of central collection staff, look at the full list of scores and pull together what we think the most strategic draft review list would be. So each team worked on this, collection staff worked on this. We came together to put it into one single draft list. I'll also mention that this stage, the draft list generation stage, is when new subscriptions can make it onto the list. So throughout the year, we do accept subscription requests via our website. We get pricing information, and then we add all of those items to the review list to see, which new subscriptions might be worth adding to the collection. So even in an environment where we need to make cancellations, we think it's important to keep the door open for new subscriptions. We want to keep up with Western's evolving curriculum. We want to keep up with emerging research areas. We don't want the subscription review to be a closed door to new content. So even though it might seem crazy to put new subscriptions on a review list in this environment, that is something that is still important to us. Once the draft review list has been pulled together, including both new and existing subscriptions, we put it out for university feedback. So this is the step that's going to be coming up in about 1 to 2 weeks. So from mid-February until the end of winter quarter, we post our draft review list along with a feedback survey and invite the university community to provide input. The survey includes the opportunity to rank specific subscriptions, either to keep or to add to the collection. It also includes opportunities to suggest new subscriptions and opportunities for open-ended feedback about the list or about the review process in general. Once the survey closes, survey results are aggregated and shared with what we call our scholarly resources group, which is a library team made up of our teaching and learning librarians and a handful of collections personnel. From there, we move on to our final decision-making stage. So in this stage, we look at all the feedback, we look at our budgetary constraints, we look at, vendor factors, purchase models, opportunities to bundle things, and ultimately try to decide which subscriptions to cancel and which subscriptions, if any, to add. There is not really a hard and fast rule for how we incorporate the survey results into our decision making, but we do look at factors like how many people requested that we retain a particular title. We look at maybe how cross-disciplinary the requests were. Was something requested by a lot of different departments? Was it requested across multiple colleges? And then we also look at the reasons that are cited for wanting to keep or add a particular subscription. And that's just really to mention a few ways that we incorporate the feedback. We try to be as nuanced and holistic as we can. It's definitely not an easy process, but we want to be thoughtful about it. And then ultimately, once the decisions are made, we communicate those actions to the university community, usually in May, but definitely before the end of the academic year. And then typically the decisions take effect the following January, because most of our subscriptions are on calendar year schedules. A central component of our communication strategy around subscriptions is our subscription review webpage, which can be found at the URL shown here. So library.ww.edu/subscription review. The site includes updates on our current year review. It includes our subscription request form. It includes a page about how we determine each subscription score. So it talks about all the criteria that we use. It includes information about past subscription reviews. And then this is where our subscription FAQ lives. And after today, this site is where we'll be posting the recording of the forum, we'll be posting the slides, and we'll be adding to that FAQ. So if you haven't explored this site, I encourage you to do so after this afternoon's forum. It will hopefully answer lingering questions if you have them and be a place where you can find information moving forward. All right, I only have a couple more slides, but before I wrap up, I wanted to make a couple of assurances to the university community. So first, I just want to state that we remain committed to getting you access to the resources you need, which includes a commitment to both interlibrary loan and Summit. If we cancel the journal, we will do everything we can to borrow that content on demand when you need it so that you can still do what you need to do. Second, we remain committed to our one-time budget. Subscriptions will not come at the cost of other formats like books and media. We will protect that portion of the collections budget so that we can still acquire those items. Subscriptions are not going to consume the one-time budget. And then lastly, we remain committed to our other library services. To the extent that our staffing permits it, we will continue to provide students and faculty with the collaboration and support that they need to thrive at Western. So subscriptions are not going to come at the cost of other pieces of the library mission. The last thing that I want to talk about is just a little bit about long-term strategies for managing the subscriptions landscape. Specifically, I just want to mention that as an institution, I think we should collectively consider organized advocacy around funding for higher ed in general and academic libraries in particular. There are a lot of ways that we can pool resources and leverage the power of many. This includes working with existing consortia like the Orbis Cascade Alliance, of which we are a member, but it can also include partnering, even just with the other public universities in Washington. This kind of collaboration and the cost savings that it could yield statewide, I think is the kind of thing that can be compelling to legislators in Olympia and might be, enough to give us a little bit of budgetary relief. So if you are frustrated by the ongoing subscriptions crisis, I would ask you to think with us about advocacy efforts that we can take beyond the university to try to bring some resources to where we need them. All right. After today's forum, there are several avenues for follow-up. So first, as I mentioned, we will post the recording, the slides, and an updated FAQ to the subscription review website, hopefully early next week. So you are welcome to revisit today's information or share it with your colleagues. Second, we encourage you to connect with your subject team if you have additional questions, if you want to talk about your department's needs, priorities, if you want to explore options for advocacy. There's a link on the slide that has contact information for the teams, and then I've included some little portraits of them in case you have met them, but maybe don't remember that you've met them. Connect with us, asynchronously, invite us to join you at a department or college meeting. We really want to work with the university community to get through this. And then lastly, we strongly encourage you to complete the subscription review survey. We plan for it to open February 24th, so that's about a week and a half from now, and it will continue through the end of winter quarter. The survey really is the way for you to tell us specifically which subscriptions are of most value to you, whether there are new subscriptions you'd like us to add. So please complete the survey. Please encourage your colleagues to complete the survey. It is hugely helpful for us to get that information. All right, with that, I think I have come to the end of our presentation. Here's some general information that might be of use to you. It includes the URL for our subscription review webpage, information about how to contact our subject teams, and an email for our centralized collections team. I will leave this up during the Q&A. And then I think at this point, we'll switch over to answering questions. So if you have a question, please go ahead and pop it into the Q&A feature of Zoom. We'll get through as many as there are or as many as we can this afternoon and then follow up with the rest as needed on the website. All right, so I'm seeing one question in the Q&A. Let's see, I will click answer it live. So the question is, my biggest concern that brought me here today is that I'm hearing about some subscriptions at other universities where papers can only be read online and cannot be downloaded as PDFs, which would be incredibly frustrating. I'm curious if exploring this type of subscription is something being considered. I hope we can avoid moving to this type of subscription if at all possible. I would rather go through ILL and get a PDF. So that is a good question. And I think, as far as I'm aware, all of our current subscriptions do allow PDF download. The one exception would be a lot of ebook platforms can get a little bit funny about downloading. Some of them download in proprietary formats or in funky ways that aren't as easy as a PDF. And we do try to avoid that. We try to have things be as downloadable and usable as possible. So I would say we're not actively considering that, and we do try to avoid it. And we'll, continue to keep an eye on that, knowing that it is an inconvenience to our users. I'll pause for a minute and see if anybody else has questions to put in the Q&A. I don't see any questions yet, but I know it can take time to type things. So I'm going to wait what feels like a very long time before we move on. I'm not seeing any questions in the Q&A, and I know that everybody is very busy this time of year. So if nothing comes in the next few seconds while I'm talking, we can go ahead and wrap up a little bit early this afternoon. I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us. Do check the subscription review website next week for the recording and an updated FAQ. And then we look forward, hopefully, to hearing from you or from your colleagues, either via our subject teams, and then, of course, hopefully via the feedback survey starting on the 24th. I'm still not seeing any more questions, so I think I'll just say thank you and have a good afternoon, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon.